In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. For MA English Weekend Class Semester First. This is the sixth lecture concerning about John Keats' Ballad of La Belle Dame Sans Mercy. The topic means La Belle Dame Sans Mercy, that a woman without love. So first of all, we need to know what exactly is a ballad. Then we will come towards the explanation and description of the poem, what John Keats has described in his masterpiece. This is considered one of the greatest ballads and poems in the English literature. Its central theme regards about love and adventure, about a night and loneliness. All these things are touched upon by John Keats in this poem. So this is a classic romantic poem. All the attributes of classicism, as we discussed in first lecture during the class, that romanticism contains the attributes of loneliness, rural life, chivalry, bravery. The main character is knight, so chivalry and bravery are also described in this poem. They also find their place in this poem. Further going on, a theme of love is being discussed, and that is also a concern of a ballad. And then ballad also describes a story, so it also has a form of a narrative of a story. So this is a type of a mixture of a classic romantic poem, and in its form it's a ballad, so it certainly contains certain characteristics of a ballad also. So we have to look on this poem by both these angles, that it is written in romantic age of the poetry, and secondly this is a ballad. So going towards what is a ballad or introduction to ballad. The traditional ballad is a song that tells a story. Traditionally, we consider that a ballad tells a story. It narrates events of a story. The theme is often tragic. Normally, the ballads are not the poems that have a happy ending, happy or peaceful or pleasant ending. Their theme is often tragic, sad, pessimistic, or destructive. So basically, they have these characteristics of pessimism in them, such as a tale of personal misfortune. Okay, for example, someone tells about the tale of his own misfortune. For example, we can say that someone tells about his financial uh, displeasure or difficulties in the shape of a poem. If someone tells the tale of his own personal financial or regarding his or her love life, or regarding any other aspect of his or her life that is tragic. If someone tells a story and tells it into a form of poem, if it is not in the form of a poem, it can be an essay or an autobiography, but it can't be a ballad. So for having the characteristics of a ballad, it certainly must be in the form of a poem. So two things here: first, it's a tale, and secondly, it has some type of misfortune, not a happy type of events or things are being described in this type of poem. So while reading ballad, you must know beforehand that it will be a story, and secondly, it will not be very pleasant, or it can recall a public event such as a battle. Okay. This is the major chunk of ballads. Mostly the ballads are tales of misfortune. But on the other hand, it can also tell about the events or recall the events of a battle or battlefield. As I told you earlier, that the main character is the knight. Knight is a person who leads in a battle. So the certain hints towards battlefield or the events of battlefield can be observed here. Supernatural themes are also common. Okay, the themes of supernatural. For example, the things regarding away from regarded that are regarded not regarded in our daily routine life. Those are supernatural. So supernatural themes, for example, appearance of ghosts, some type of these type of things can also occur in this type of poem. So ballad can have supernatural characteristics or themes or characters in it. It is an old form that dates back to the later Middle Ages. Okay, now it's not a new form of writing poetry. Rather, it's an old form of writing poetry, and it begins from the later Middle Ages. Later part of the Middle Ages saw the emergence of ballad at the time of Chaucer, round about that time, a little before Chaucer's time. We can say that there were ballads that took their emergence there, that started, and poets started writing poetry in the form of ballads. So this type of literature or poem is not new and simple in structure. Okay, there is structure. A structure of a ballad is not very simple. Sorry, not very complex. It's simple, which means that its structure may not be difficult to understand. It You can easily understand the structure of a ballad. So, what type of structure a ballad has? The story is central, in which the story will having the central or lead character. The events of the story will be the leading part of the poem and is usually related in fairly plain four line stanzas. And there are easily distinguishable four line stanzas that constitute the poem. There will be four stanzas of first written four stanzas, then second. There is no proper limit of these stanzas, but it is in the shape of stanzas. Ballads usually deal with the public and personal disaster, as told earlier, that it is not a very pleasant type of poem. Understanding of a ballad. So, when you read any ballad of any poet, how are you supposed to understand it? First of all, an unhappy event is put in the form of the story and with the addition of music. So, you will be observing certain unhappy events in the poem, and there would be some type of music. Sometimes, the persons narrating ballad will also be using music. Some form of harmony is imposed on unharmonious events. Okay, some type of harmony. Again, order and disorder. The concept of order and disorder is present here. Some form of harmony, uh, certain type of harmony is imposed, is uh, used for the description of unharmonious events. For example, unpleasant things are happening in life, but you will use certain adjectives and imagery with that unharmonious event that will show harmony, that will show there is no problem, there is order in life, because the ultimately poet is trying to make an order in the universe. So that's why that poet has this tendency to use harmony with unharmonious events. The ballad thus represents an attempt to come to terms with the catastrophe. Okay, then the ballad shows an attempt to come to terms with the catastrophe. It shows an attempt that how to deal with such destructive type of events, how we will be able to deal with these type of events when such catastrophe occurs in our lives. What should we do? Ballads usually begin abruptly at the point where the tragic event is about to occur. Okay. Ballads start abruptly. Uh, at, there is sudden start at the point where the tragic event. Okay, at the start you will not find the order in the poem. In the start of the poem there will be disorder. So you should not be confused by the fact that poem is starting in such an unpleasant way, because it is a traditional style of writing a ballad. The tale is told with little comment. Not many comments are made by the poet. There are little comments which are told in the tale. The meaning being apparent in the description of the event, action itself. Okay, this tale is told with little a few comments, the meaning being apparent in the description of the event itself. Because why there is no need to make a lot of comments, because the action is apparent by itself. It doesn't need any type of commentary on it. So that's how you understand a ballad. Now moving forward, John Keats is a great great poet of English language. uh, he is considered one of the best, or probably the best poet in English language. It is a portrait of John Keats. Because of the significance of the poet, one or two slides are attributed to him. Who is John Keats? First, he was an English romantic poet. You should know that he came in romantic age. He was born on October 31st, 1795 in London. His birth took place in London. In 1816, Keats became a licensed apothecary, but he never practiced his profession. He decided instead to write poetry. He mastered other field of profession, but he never practiced it. He rather took towards poetry, and he found himself interested towards poetry. In July 1820, he published his third and best volume of poetry. In July 1820, he published his third and best volume. His best volume of poetry was published by him. It is named as Lamia Isabelle. The Eve of Saint Agnes and other poems are also there. This poem is also included in bachelor's course outline, English course outline. You might have studied it earlier. Okay, this is about the poet. A little bit about his concepts. While writing for magazines of his time, his poem received constant critical attack. At his time when he was writing, his poems were not very famous. Rather, he received a lot of attack from the other poets. But his odes were considered his masterpieces. But at that time also, people thought that his odes were brilliant. They were breathtaking and outstanding. Ode to Nightingale, Ode to a Grecian Urn. Okay, these odes are uh, matchless in English literature. You can or you should read them for your own pleasure and learning. Keats is also known for his theory of negative capability. Okay, Keats is a poet that defines negative capability, and it is attributed to him often. So what really is negative capability? You must know what is negative capability. Negative capability is the concept which Keats used to express the belief that great people have the ability to accept that not everything can be resolved. That great people accept this fact sooner or later, that everything in life cannot be resolved. All the problems are not resolvable. Like we also see in Islamic literature that Hazrat Ali Raziallahu anhu said that I found about the mastery and lordship of Allah Almighty when I saw that my intentions broke down. I was not able to work according to my intention. So that's what uh, kids also found out, that it's a, and then he said that you should be peaceful with that. For example, if you are not able to get your desired job or anything, then the thing is that there is negative capability. You should have negative capability, and then come to peace, that everything, I cannot resolve everything of my life. There are certain aspects I can resolve, and I should try to resolve them. But in the end, like Qaeda Azam also said, that this is not the Pakistan that I had wished for. So, negative capability, great persons have that characteristic. John Keats died on February 23, 1821 from tuberculosis at the age of 25. Only at the age of 25, this great poet faced the music of death. Then comes the uh, poems text. You will go through it, and I will explain certain themes. First of all, you should look. These are the themes of the poem. It is a magical experience. A quest or journey is there in the poem. You should be able to see that there is journey going along. A love affair is there, and it has the characteristic of loneliness, because the night was alone on the hillside. So this also contains the characteristics of loneliness, and also hints uh, towards another aspect of Keats' poetry, that is escapism. Keats often uses escapism in his poems when he is not able to face the realities of the life. He tries to move away from them. That is called his escapism. Okay, next comes the structure of the poem. Okay, this poem has two parts when you will read it out. So, what is the first part and what does it mean? The first part, from stanzas 1 to 3, the questions of the stranger to the night. Certain questions are asked from the stranger to the night. A knight was alone on the hillside in the poem. A stranger came to him and asked him why is he alone there. So the first part contains this question. The work of the first three stanzas is to make the symbols a living part of that reality. Okay, the symbols used, the imagery used, the incidents described are in a way that make you believe that it is a real poem and it is a real world which the poet is encountering. In other words, they suggest a connection between man and nature, and also we find out that there is a connection between man and nature. First, it becomes believable for us. Secondly, man and nature has a certain connection with each other, that is shown by the loneliness of the night. The night is although alone there, but in a sense we can say that he's living there alone because he is with nature now. After his beloved left him, he found peace and solace in the arms of the nature. So he moved towards nature. So that's how he tries to make himself comfortable the after his beloved had left him. It is also said that it is a comment on Keats' personal life as well, because he also had a beloved in his life named Fanny Brown, which left him, and it is said that the main character, the beloved of the night, is the exact representation of Fanny Brown. The second part of the poem, from stanzas 4 to 12, the knight's reply to the stranger is there. So, knight replies the stranger that why is he staying there? What is his purpose and why is he staying there? From stanzas 4 to 12, there is 9 precisely balanced stanzas containing the main narrative. The main story is given in these stanzas. The progress of the knight in the first four stanzas comes to the central one. Eighth stanza is the central stanza of the poem when he is taken into the elfin grot. And in the last four stanzas, he withdraws from the grot. He goes away from the grot. This is the structure of the poem and how it is written. After listening to this lecture, you will also be going through the explanation. The slides of explanation are also given there. Go through them, and if there is any question or query, you may ask me during the lecture. Thanks a lot. Take care.